XRP just had a major breakout on price, and I think a lot of this is some momentum that we've been seeing kind of pent up over the last little while. It broke a major structure that I think could actually be the beginning of the run to $5. We saw it hit $3 on the last kind of major pump. I do think we could see it hit $5 on this potential pump. I want to go over why specifically I think that, how we could get there, and also there's just more and more news that keeps coming along that I think is really important, that's actually showing that XRP does have momentum, and we could see it potentially continue along and continue to see this growth that we have seen over the past couple of years. The last year being, of course, kind of the most impressive of all of them. So I want to talk a little bit about that today. First off, I did want to take a quick look at some news that we are seeing here. We can see that the Institute of International Finance now actually does recognize Ripple and XRP as alternatives to cross-border payments, which is really cool. If we double click into this really quick, we can see we've got JP Morgan's Connexus. This used to be Onyx. This is the like the private permission blockchain that Chase is actually, or JP Morgan, I guess I should say, is creating, which is pretty cool. We also could see Circle's USDC. It's regulated. This is why USDC is included, and we are not seeing USDT just because it is not regulated. And there's I think have been recurring questions over the actually true state of what's going on with USDT. And so I do think something like USDC is going to be something it's going to be a little bit safer for a lot of people to use, especially like when we're talking like institutional flows and things like that. We also can see here major PSP issued stablecoins such as PayPal USD, very similar to Circle, just a little bit different because it's actually backed by an existing company that already has kind of that strong reputation in the market and things like that. And then we can also see here layer 2 blockchain solutions like Coinbase's Base enable stablecoin transfers. So again, another thing, where we can see on a reputable chain using reputable like stablecoins and currencies and things like that. And then we also do see here, last but not least, Ripple's network provides an alternative infrastructure for cross-border payments using XRP, an unbacked floating digital asset. So this would be something kind of moving more primarily away from like USD backed things, as we can see here, USDC, USD, Base, probably primarily denominated in USD something. If we were going to take a guess, probably JP Morgan's Connexus is probably going to have some form of fiat backed type of thing. And so Ripple is kind of the only alternative that we do actually see here that's different from some of the others, in the sense that they actually have a non-fiat backed option for cross-border payments. And so obviously, I'm not saying anything new here to the XRP crowd. Obviously, this has been kind of the main point of conviction for many XRP holders. And so I did actually just want to call that out, that we are actually seeing some international recognition of this from the Institute of International Finance. And so the next thing I want to take a quick look at here, though, is the XRP chart, because there's a lot of really crazy things going on the XRP chart. We'll see here, we do actually have an XRP position open. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I want to just kind of take a look at what we're seeing with the state of the XRP chart. So as we can see here, we do have the fib showing. We can see what's going on with the fib. We have the top here. We've got the bottom here. We're seeing that we actually kind of had a bit of an issue here at the 382. We also were held up a little bit by the 216. We've come and we've actually smashed right past through this 0.5, which is good. Haven't quite gotten up to the 618 or the 786. This is something where we'll probably have a decent bit of resistance both running into the 618 as well as running out of the 786. We can see major level of support here, major level of resistance here. So these are some things that I think we will need to kind of pay close attention to as we continue this breakout. But then if we start to look at the fib extensions, we can see $4.53 being the 1618, which is another good option to look at, and then the 2618 being at $6.35. So lots of options here for where we could see XRP coming. Now, I'm actually going to get rid of this Fibonacci so we can focus a little bit more on the underlying data, which is we did see a descending wedge that did actually get broken out of. We've seen the break. You can already see kind of a little bit of what I'm expecting to see here. I think we could see potentially a little bit of a run back, a bounce off of this, and then a move back to the upside. If we did see something like that, I think that could be actually a really good thing, because we're seeing the break, retest, and then continuation to the upside from there, which would be a really good thing to see. So that's kind of a little bit of what I'm waiting for. Obviously, you can see I was opening XRP positions up, down, almost near the very bottom here. We did time it very well. Of course, we were kind of trading things as we were going along here. We've already taken some profits on XRP as we kind of ran up into this trend line. We did take some profits just because you never know for sure what's going to happen. But of course, we have broken out and are continuing to see that run happen here. If we do look, we can see on the RSI very, very close to overbought, not quite though. And then we also can see very much pushing the top of the Bollinger Bands here. So maybe a little bit of kind of this slowing down, maybe some even retesting here. Some of this type of stuff very much in the cards just based on what we have seen out of XRP so far. So of course, I think things are looking really, really strong here as we did look from the fib extensions. We could see a really easy kind of target here up at the $4.50 range, and then after that about $6.35. I do also think $5, just because it is such a psychological barrier. If we come up here, $5 will be a decent chunk of resistance here, just because it is that psychological, like it's the $5 XRP. So I do think that is something that we will see probably a little bit of resistance on, but I do think, as we just went over, there's a lot of good news happening. If we continue to see some of this institutional recognition of XRP, it will be very, very bullish for the project overall. Now, if you are interested in trading XRP, as you can see here, I do have an XRP position open, up 335% on that position, doing really quite well here. Also, we're up over 100% on SUI, 50% here on Ondo, and then 30% here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin, all these, as you can see, 10x, 4x, 3x, 4x. Relatively low leverage, obviously XRP a little bit higher leverage, but as you can see, this was a really, really good time for when we actually did get in on the XRP trade. So pretty good deal there. But as you can see, things doing really, really well as we've seen this bounce in the market overall. It's as long as you're not doing anything too crazy. I know there's a lot of people who are looking to do 100x longs and 50x shorts and all this type of stuff. That is a dangerous game to be playing, and so I don't generally like to do that. But if that is something that you are trying to do, I would just say exercise extreme caution. Make sure you know what you're doing. I personally try to go for more of the lower leverage stuff, just generally, because I find it to be much easier. If you are interested in getting signed up for BTCC, I do have those links in the description below. They do have that 10% bonus on first time deposits, as well as up to $10,055 of deposit and transit or volume bonuses, which are, again, a really, really good deal there. You can be making a decent chunk just off of bonuses from BTCC if you are looking to trade anyway. They do also have a demo account as well, so if you're just looking to kind of dip your toes in and test some strategies, or maybe you have a strategy that works, you could trade on that and then maybe try to develop some new strategies while just demoing it. Things like that. I have strategies that I'm always trying to kind of play out and see what works, see what doesn't. So I do utilize the demo account quite a lot just because I think it's very helpful. So anyway, overall with XRP, I do think we're sitting in a relatively decent position. It seems to me that we are past kind of the peak uncertainty in the market. And so I'm very much looking forward to seeing how we continue along in this market. And I do think that XRP will show some pretty considerable strength as we continue along, and so definitely looking forward to that. We will see how things kind of shake out. Overall, I will be here continuing to cover XRP as it's relevant and as we get more cool and interesting things happening with XRP. If you do have any comments, questions, thoughts, feelings, anything like that, just drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. Also, if you have any if you did find the information in this video useful, a like and a subscribe really does help me out, continue to grow the channel, also continue to provide more valuable contents, daily updates, things like that. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.